Look what I got. The market report, the villages, first quarter of 2025. I'm a little excited to see how the numbers match up. I put them into the spreadsheet. But at first, I want to say, if you watch other real estate, let me just give you some of these things that I keep seeing. And I seem to be living in a different world. You know, these are some of the YouTube highlights that I've been seeing. Housing crash for Florida. This is bad. Florida panic. It's like a fire sale. The crash of 2025. This is how it ends. This is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I keep seeing this. These guys are mostly, oh, it's over. It's over. Okay, you kind of get the drift. Beware before you buy real estate in Florida. I'm hoping I have some good news for you about Florida and real estate. I'm not a big fan of listening to these guys. Here, let me just adjust this a little. I'm not a huge fan of these guys, and I just want to point that out. Okay, so enough of that. Let's take a look at the market report, which I have right here. I'm going to pull up pictures on the screen and kind of go through it like I normally do. Let's go to the market report. If I end up getting it as a link that you can go to it directly, I will put it in the description below. Right as the filming of this, I only had the paper version that I got in the mail, and that's what I'm going to be going over. So here's the market report. I'm going to fly through the market report first, then go to my spreadsheet. So let's go through the market report. I got it. First quarter of 2025. We'll come back to this page in my spreadsheet. But as you can see on this front page, the market first quarter 2025, they sold or closed 1,473 homes. But I'll come back to this, pending. So in the next quarter, they already have 1,817 pending. So if they close on all those, they're going to be higher than this month. Just keep that in mind. So let's look at it by area. Spanish Springs. It's all pre-owned. There's no new. But they closed on 122 homes. Average price $335,000. Average days on the market were 74. That's pretty high compared to all the other trends that I've seen in the past. Let's take a look to Lake Sumter Landing area. This is between 466 and 466A. They closed on 152 homes. Average sale price was $483,000. 53 days on the market. Coming down. But 53 days on the market, it's almost 2 months. Now, what we have here in the Lake Sumter, let me just, I don't think I looked at this before. You can kind of see the average prices per series if you are interested in that. And you could take note, patio villas were running $288. Courtyard villas were $382. Cottages were $362. Designer verandas were $569. And premier homes were $868,000 in just this district area. Brownwood. Again, you see the breakdown. Actually, let's go back here. Everything was pre-owned in Lake Sumter Landing, but not so for Brownwood. Let's go to Brownwood. They had pre-owned where they sold 208 homes, and brand new homes in the Brownwood area, they sold 74 closed on new. I'm not really sure where the new are in this section. Let's take a look at the map. How they go below 44 was probably the new Richmond phase. That's what I think it was, the new Richmond phase. The new averaged $388,000 for the courtyard villas, and the designer homes were $621,000. you can see pre-owned, 208 homes sold, 74 new, Sawgrass Grove. And that's everything south of Morse Boulevard, Sawgrass, Newell, all the way down to Dabney. Pre-owned sold was 102. New homes closed was 58. Again, the 58, I don't know where exactly the 58 that were sold, but there can't be any left down here, I don't think, to be new in the future. Even though I did see a couple of lots, but it would bring up that premier price. Let's take a look at the prices of the, this is what I'm looking for, pre-owned, premier, 1.4 million. And new, 934. That could be the Enclave. Could be the Enclave is what we've got down here for being sold. So there you have the Sawgrass area. And so you've got, one of the surprising parts to me was, even looking at Sawgrass, the average on new sales price was $350,000. And I got to thinking about it. Are people with the higher interest rate, if they needed to take out a loan instead of getting the higher price home, they had to bring the price of the home down to match the payment that they would have to make? Just something that, I have noticed the prices haven't seemed to jump up. I thought all the ones in Richmond, all the ones, the Premier on Enclave would drastically jump it up. So let's go back and take a look at, I think I skipped this section, Eastport. Eastport is everything below the Turnpike and Warm Springs. And this is what I want. It was 815 total in new. 683 of those are in Eastport. If you look at new homes closed, 683. I'm sorry, I missed this part. 683 in the pre-owned, they closed on 74. But I want to point out their biggest sector is below the Turnpike that they're selling. And if you want, we could take a look at the individual prices. And this is where Patio Villas 284 is the average on this series on pre-owned, 247 under new. So there probably was a lot of patio villas sold for under 300,000 in order to get that average patio villas. That's a low price. Courtyard Villas 396, that's somewhat normal. Cottage homes at 306. That's the average, so a lot of cottage homes in the whole new Eastport area. You do have some Premier. Seems a little less money down there in Eastport, 707. Depends what you add to a Premier home. But I wanted to go to this. Now let's go back to my spreadsheet. The front page of the market report, which when you look at this, you can clearly see on closed pre-owned, 658 homes. On the new, 815 closed in the first quarter with an average price of $391. Days on the market for new are 27, so it's relatively quick on new homes. And that could be some of the get your name in for those around the golf course, around Oak Hollow, that kind of thing. That may be some of the impact here. Whether those are closed on, it could be coming up that they'll be closed on. But that's really a question. So in total, closed 1,473. Let's go to my spreadsheet. Here we go to my spreadsheet. And as you can see, I've kind of mapped out 2024. We can see how that went. First quarter of last year was 1,301 total, pre-owned and new. And in this quarter, 1,473. That's a jump of 172 homes in both categories. And let's just take a look at homes closed pre-owned. Last year was 580. Now it's 658. Again, it's up. In the new homes closed, 721 last year in the first quarter, 815. It's up. It's up. Now, this is where I made this comment earlier. Pre-owns were $460 average, where now pre-owned is $509. It's jumped up. People are paying more for the pre-owned than they did the first quarter of last year. But that's not true on the new. On the new, the average sale price a year ago was $421. Now it's $391. And that's where I was talking about maybe the interest rates, and if people had to kind of put out any money and looking at the payment, they might have jockeyed the size of the house a little. Or it just could be more smaller, lower price homes came out in the new market than the higher price ones. But that's an awful lot of homes, 815 over the 721. And if you look at it, I just did a quick calculation. It's up 13% for the combination of the two. So my spreadsheet shows that the totals are up for 2025. Now in the yellow, what you're going to see here in the yellow is what I have done is I carried over 2024 numbers for 2025 second, third, fourth quarter to use as estimates. And when I use that as estimates, if they sold exactly the same number of homes, which we know that's not going to happen, if they sold the exact number of homes, they would be up almost 3%. I have 2.97, 172, because that's how many was in the first quarter. But the first quarter, they're already up 13%. I have this gut feeling the Villages continues on. So like I had in the early part of the video with all these people saying, you know, Florida's going down the tubes, I don't see it. I just don't see it here. Kind of good news for those that are looking to purchase, that prices haven't skyrocketed, but they haven't dropped a ton either. And when I look at the new homes, you've got some different styles now that are available. It is an interesting time to look at the Villages. Now again, this is only the Villages and what the Villages sells. When you look at the MLS listing and the real estate agents, again, they sell about 2,340 homes a year. I average about 45 sales per week is what. You can definitely see the Villages itself sells a lot more, or more than the MLS section. But that's because they have the market on the brand new homes, because they only build the new homes. And now they have the pre-owned that seems to be growing in numbers. It had reached, I think, almost 700 homes available on the MLS market. The Villages, there's no such gauge because they can have a lot of pre-owned on the market, but when they release new homes, it really is as those homes are done. And I can tell you they are not slowing down. So from my perspective, I don't know if it's just the Villages or what all these other people on YouTube are talking about, but the Villages seems to have its own marketplace and continues to thrive. Now, if you're selling your home, which there's a lot of people selling their home, I think you've got to make sure your house is a really good deal compared to all the other homes that are out there for that price range. I started to do a video where I was going to show the best home in each market, and I ended up, it just became a lot of work, and then how am I to know what you're looking for? So I held up on it. If you want me to do that video, because I started it, I'm not a realtor, so I don't just sit there with the real estate mechanism and do it. I'm sure another realtor should do it. But I was going to look it up because I don't care who's selling the home. I'm not a realtor. I don't care whose house it is. I was just going to show you probably what I considered the best home in each market. And if you really want me to do that, I will do it. But I got to hear from you that you want it, because it is quite a bit of work and it is subjective. It is very subjective. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video market update. I'm telling you, the Villages is up again. When I compare it, I'm just going to, on this screen, go back all the way to, they're not to the point. They're almost to 1,500 homes. In 2022, the first quarter, they sold 1,616. So another 100, about 125 more homes. They're not all the way back up there, but I can tell you interest rates, and I'm rattling on. Hey, hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe.